Hello everyone, welcome to our second lesson on direct and indirect speech. Before we start, we will quickly recap the rules that we have already learned for changing a sentence from direct to indirect speech. Example: Mohan said, "I want to read this book." How are we going to change this into indirect speech? First, we will identify the tense. The tense here is said, which is past. Find the pronoun who is talking and about who is the person talking. Here, Mohan is talking and he is talking about himself, I. Third, are there any adverbs? Then find the adverb. The adverb here is this. Finally, we will remove the quotes and add that. So the sentence in indirect speech becomes: Mohan said that he wanted to read that book. The tense is past tense, as we can see in the verb said. So want changes to the past tense as well as wanted. Here Mohan is talking about himself. So we change the pronoun I to he. Then finally we have the adverb this. It changes to that. Mohan said that he wanted to read that book. We have removed the quotes and also added a that in this sentence. However, we do not change the tense sometimes. For example, if something is still true, we do not change it to a past tense. An example: Mohan said, "Rohan is my best friend." So Rohan is still Mohan's best friend. So when we change it to indirect speech, the sentence becomes: Mohan said that Rohan is his best friend. We did not change Rohan was his best friend because Rohan is still Mohan's best friend. Sheila said, "I am studying in class 6. Sheila said that she is studying in class 6. It is also correct to say that Sheila said that she was studying in class 6. But since Sheila is still studying in class 6, we can keep the verb in the present tense as well. Objective. In today's lesson, we will be able to identify a command, a request, or advice in a direct speech and change it to indirect speech. What is a command, a request, or advice? Let us look at some examples. A command: go to bed now. Request: please help me. Advice: avoid unhealthy food. Can you spot the difference between the three? How do we identify? A command, a request, and an advice. All three tell someone to do something, but it is said differently. How do we say it differently? A command, it is an order. It is not polite. A request is when we ask politely. And an advice, when we are trying to help others. It may sound like an order or a request, but an advice is meant to help others. We will now change these sentences from direct to indirect speech. First, we will identify whether the direct speech is a command, a request, or an advice. She said to me, "Please help me." We can see from this sentence that it is a request. So, in indirect speech, we write it as, she requested me to help her. Please note that we have no longer used the verb said or the word please because Requested means that someone is saying and the please is included in it. The doctor said to my brother, avoid unhealthy food. The doctor advised my brother to avoid unhealthy food. This sentence is a advice because the doctor is telling something to my brother which will help him. My brother said to me, close the door. It does sound like an order, doesn't it? When your brother tells you, close the door. So, my brother ordered me to close the door. Let us do some more practice. Here are 3 sentences. The man told his lazy servant, clean the room. The man told his helpful servant, please clean the room. The man told his confused servant, clean the room. So in all these 3 direct speech, the same word is being said, clean the room. But how it is being said is different. So, can you identify whether it is an order, an advice, or a request? Let us look at the first sentence. The man told his lazy servant, clean the room. So what is this? It is an order. Why? Because the servant is lazy and without being ordered, he is not doing his work. In the second sentence, the man told his helpful servant, please clean the room. Here, the servant is already very helpful. So, the man is requesting him so that he could help him clean the room. In the third sentence, the man told his confused servant, clean the room. Here, the servant is confused. He doesn't know what to do. So, the man is helping him by telling him what to do. So, it is an advice. So, the first sentence is an order, the second a request, and the third an advice. How will we change it to indirect speech? The man ordered his lazy servant to clean the room. The man requested his helpful servant to clean the room. The man advised his confused servant to clean the room. Again, note how we are changing the sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. We have not used the verb told in the indirect speech. We have changed told to order, request, or advise. So this is how we change a direct speech to indirect speech when it is an order, advice, request. Here are some more examples to practice. The doctor said to my uncle, exercise every day. Is this an order, advice, or a request? This is an advice because the doctor is telling my uncle what to do to help him. The doctor advised my uncle to exercise every day. The teacher said, please complete your homework. Is this an order, advice, or request? It is a request. The teacher requested her students to complete their homework. Have you also noticed how the pronouns have changed? You have already learned in your first lesson of how to change direct to indirect speech. How do we change the pronouns? That is all the practice that we had. Let us now give a small test and see how our understanding is.